It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is our health focus here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and hopefully you're feeling good this morning. If not, let's see what we can do about it. World Spine Day has been, I don't know if the right word, celebrated. It's been commemorated since 2012, with October the 16th of this year marking the 11th official World Spine Day. Now, this day highlights the burden of spinal pain and disability around the world, with health professionals, exercise and rehabilitation experts, public health advocates, school children, patients all taking part. This is a global movement, and here to tell us more about the day itself and spine health in general are chiropractors Dr. Marnie Kruger and Dr. Kevin Langton. Guys, welcome back.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. You got your day, and I'm glad that you... Did we give him a name last time?
Friend.
Friend, okay. Friend. And he is a friend, because our spine is our friend. But welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
I feel like a good place to start is that, you know, the social media has dominated our opinions of what a chiropractor is. I mean, I'm sure all I see is those videos of the... and I'm thinking, okay, is this thing even safe? So let's talk about what a chiropractor actually does. And I mean, either one of you can take this. In fact, ladies first, Doctor, a chiropractor.
So, chiropractic is a health professional that's concerned with conditions that are considered neuromusculoskeletal. So that big word just means that we deal with people with pain and problems with their muscles, joints, and nerves. So chiropractic is considered safe. It's one of the safest drug-free, non-invasive treatments. And we've got a pretty good track record in terms of safety, but no intervention is completely risk-free. But most of the adverse events reported would be kind of like a little bit stiff and sore for around about 48 hours after the treatment. But most patients will consider feeling very good after the treatments that we provide.
Relief. Just a moment of relief. That's what we want. Kevin, I'm going to put this out there because I've seen many chiropractors in my journey. So I had a back op 2 years ago, as we know, and it's been this crazy kind of pain management journey since then because my nerves been impacted. One thing I do know is you operate within this ecosystem where no person is the same, no journey is the same, no spine is the same. How do we then know who the right person to speak to is? How should we engage with our chiropractor when we meet with you guys? What do we have kind of lined up in terms of our questions, and how do we start this process with you guys?
Yeah, great question. I think the first thing to know is that we train for 6 years to understand the anatomy, physiology, how the body works, the nervous systems. We do have more than one nervous system. So the bottom line is that our primary focus is to make a differential diagnosis. That means we need to figure out what is a chiropractic problem and what isn't a chiropractic problem. Most of what we see, what patients come to us with, are spine syndromes, spine pain syndromes. That's what brings them in. And then our real focus is to decide, do we need to refer this patient out because there are certain what we refer to as red flags, things that really highlight and pop up as being a dangerous condition. There are certain things like bladder and bowel dysfunction, for example, together with your back pain or neck pain, various loss of function, so muscles that just don't work anymore because there's entrapment of nerves and pressure on nerves. Those are not that common, surprisingly. Most of what we see are related to mechanical strain, sprain, overuse, repetitive type of activities.
Lifestyle, basically.
Lifestyle, especially over the last while. Everybody has been doing different things and working differently. So basically, we make that differential diagnosis, and most patients then fall into a chiropractic kind of domain, and we then use various techniques. We see lots of different patients from very young, days old in fact, to very old, even into their 90s. My current oldest patient is 96 years old. So obviously you can't do the same thing to everybody. So we have different techniques, which makes it applicable to anybody. Anybody can have chiropractic care, whether you have had spinal operations before, have had various conditions linked to your spine, and then we tailor our treatment protocols to suit the patient. It's not a one-size-fits-all at all.
And then you walk that journey together. I think
Yes.
that is key. It's a journey. It's not an end result. You're constantly moving forward. I've been blown away by how many people have experienced some measure of back pain and also how debilitating it can actually be. In fact, in my case, it felt like waking up in somebody else's body. The joy is you can be proactive, you can enhance, you can protect, you can improve your spine health, and that's what we're going to do right now.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked as we continue our health focus this morning. Now, around 540 million people around the world suffer from lower back pain at any one time. That's crazy. With that in mind, the theme for World Spine Day 2022 is Every Spine Counts, and reflects on the need to reset and refocus on spinal pain and disability as part of the global burden of disease, because COVID has taken the focus firmly away from that. We need to find our aim again. And here to tell us more about back pain and ways to cope are chiropractors Dr. Marnie Kruger, or Kriya, and Dr. Kevin Lenton. You do realize now I'm going to have to say it both ways every time.
Yes.
That is so gracious. Or I can just call you Marnie because we know each other well enough. Guys, thank you so much. I think so many people are experiencing some level of back pain at some point in their lives. In fact, we've got a couple of voice notes who came through. Let's hear how you guys are feeling right now.
I need a new back. I can't wake up every morning with a sore back, especially my lower back. I'm suffering back injury due to a slip disc. What is it that I can do to fix this back besides surgery?
Before we move on to our next voice notes, I'm going to put it out there because that's what it's about. I know that maybe a spinal fusion is there on the cards at some point because of my squiff spine. Maybe I don't need a new spine just yet, like that particular caller, but all of us are wanting to prevent the more invasive stuff. So where do we even begin, Marnie?
I think you need to find someone that you trust.
Yeah.
If you can find a chiropractor that you trust and you can, like you say, walk the journey with that person, that's really important. I think guidelines tell us that we need to have patients under conservative management for about 3 months before we refer them on for surgery. Okay. But the main thing is exercise. I really believe that you need to figure out something that you like doing to move your body in a way that you can manage the pain. So it mustn't be too sore. Dosage is very important, like Dr. Lenton said. You know, it mustn't be too aggressive. It needs to work for you. But the big thing is you need to see someone and figure out how severe your problem is. Like we mentioned, if you have any sort of numbness, tingling, any sort of change, weakness, you need to see someone immediately. Another big thing to me is you shouldn't wait for pain to hang around more than 3 months, because then we start dealing with chronic pain, and that's very difficult to treat. So seeing someone before 3 months gives you peace of mind that maybe the condition isn't as serious as you thought it was, and stress and all of those things does aggravate pain.
Anxiety has a
Anxiety,
massive impact
yes,
on pain
exactly.
management, yeah.
So seeing someone that you trust, I think, would be a good place to start, and then they can help you and guide you to get more physically active, making sure your ergonomics at work is better, taking frequent breaks. There's a lot of things that you as the patient need to do. We can only help you and guide you as much as we can. Yeah, that's...
And it's so good that you say that, because each one of you is completely different as well. And as much as you study your chiropractic science for 6 years, you've got a lifetime of knowledge that you're gaining with each new client that you have. You want to tap into that. Erica also sent us a voice note. Let's hear if she needs a new back.
Good morning, Expresso show. This is Erica speaking from Biola. Doctors, I would like to know what is wrong with my back. Every night, my back is paining, my lower back. My back is not bothering me during the day, but only in the night. And it's most of the time on the right side of my lower back. Please help, doctors, please.
Well, that's intriguing, you know, because my dad, he had a slip disc, and he manifested in a way where at night he'd have pain. In the day when he was moving around and doing his job, he didn't feel said pain, but it was only when he became sort of rested at night that the pain came through. So he associated the night with the pain, and it almost became a psychological thing. So
Habitual.
what is happening in this scenario? I know it's very difficult to tell, but maybe just anecdotally.
A very simple thing would be maybe it's the mattress that's causing the problem. Okay, orthopedic mattress just means a nice firm mattress. So if you don't have a firm mattress, your bum kind of sinks in, and that can contribute to pain. Like you say, taking the day, resting at the end of the day, that can contribute to it. Yeah, what do you think, Doc?
I think that it also depends what this young lady is doing through the day. Yeah. While we're active, the body produces certain painkillers, its own natural painkillers and endorphins to help you get through whatever you're doing. A lot of people say to us, I play golf and I feel absolutely fine. But when I get home 2 hours later, I can't walk. And so that's the body pumping in these natural painkillers. Yeah. So that's why you might not feel it as much during the day. So it's important to see, does she sit a lot of the time? Is she a desk-bound type of job, a more physical type of job, which could then be exacerbating the problems at night? Everything kind of relaxes. Those painkillers, your natural painkillers subside. Again, as Marnie says, the bed can play a major role. Sometimes we watch TV in funny positions. We sit awkwardly, that then exacerbates whatever we've been doing through the day. So as chiropractors, we go through a lot of education for patients to try and help figure out what are the actual causes, not just to treat the pain as such. We want to try and prevent it. That's obviously our major focus.
I wanted to ask Erica if she has a 2-year-old, because that's, I think, been the common denominator in so many of these stories.
People have their dogs on their beds and they sleep awkwardly to accommodate their dog. I'm like, get the dog a bed.
Get a smaller dog. You've got to get a sausage that can kind of curve to the shape of your spine. That's what I did. I absolutely love it. Thank you for those comments. 0634088863. If you've got any comments or questions, insights in your own pain management journey, if you've had issues with your back, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
That right now, and in fact we have our doctors still standing by to make sure that you are completely in the know about World Spine Day and of course spine health. And we didn't get a chance a little earlier to actually expand on this, and I'd love to do that with Dr. Marnie Kruger as well as Dr. Kevin Lenton. When it comes to actual good spine health, I think that a lot of people, we look to social media, we see the cracking of the back videos with the
cracking,
we hear the and then you think to yourself, like, where does that noise come from? Because the thing is, your mind tells you, is this air escaping from somewhere?
Yeah,
is
it nitrogen bubbles?
What is it?
Yeah.
So I think maybe it'll be very nice as a little anecdote to tell us exactly what that cracking sound actually is.
Shall I go? Well, if I can describe it again with my little model here. So the spine has a number of joints. If you can imagine your head up at the top and your tail at the bottom, between each set of vertebrae is a joint. It's just like any other joint really in the body, like an ankle joint. And around that joint is some fluid called synovial fluid. It's like the lubricating fluid that keeps us feeling a little bit flexible in there.
Okay.
And part of the chemical makeup of that joint fluid is nitrogen. And there are bubbles in this nitrogen fluid. So when we adjust, that's the term we as chiropractors use for our manipulation. It's a very gentle mobilizing of the joint. We open the joint space, and that allows those bubbles to pop. They leave that joint space, and that's the actual noise that you hear. It's not bone rubbing on bone.
You haven't dislocated your head, and they are now clicking it back into place. I would imagine if you had to dislocate any one of these joints, you would be in hospital within seconds and having surgery. Yeah?
Absolutely. We stay away from that. But that fluid then reconstitutes itself, and those nitrogen bubbles just reappear miraculously. And so we carry on. So the actual noise is not the bone going back into place, as we talked about earlier. We don't realign the spine. We don't put bones back in place. We mobilize. We get the joints moving nice and freely to create flexibility, literally right from the top all the way down to the bottom. And even though a patient may present with, say, lower back pain, it's quite often that the problem is higher up, actually, or vice versa. They could come in with neck pain and the problem is lower back, because the whole spine works synergistically. All the joints move together. And so we will look everywhere to find what we refer to as a locking or a fixation of the joint. And then our job is to mobilize and move that joint.
Marty, why is this mobility so important? Because I keep thinking half of my issues have come from a lack of mobility. When then now this part of the body, which should be doing its own job, is now having to do the job of this part of the body, and now this shoulder's doing that job and this shoulder, and then suddenly everything is out of alignment and it's exacerbating the original problem. How do you guys even know where to begin? I suppose with the mobility, that gives you the opportunity to work through that whole system, but why is that so key?
So we use a system called biopsychosocial to evaluate our patients. As you said, every single patient is different. And you, for example, mentioned that you hurt your back while changing a nappy. And I mean, like, you can't tell your patient, stop caring for your kids. That's going to sort out your back pain. So you need to look at the pain in perspective of what the patient has. So biologically, some people will be prone to developing conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, and we know that predisposes them to developing pain, for example. Socially, is it a patient who's a mom that needs to lift up her children? So it needs to be very specific to that patient. And the last component being the thing that I keep on saying, it's the psychological component of pain. So, and that's what you need to look at when you start working with a patient. So when you go to a chiropractor, they'll spend a lot of time taking the history and figuring out, what does the pain mean to the patient? We'll sometimes ask patients, what's your pain out of 10? And then the patients go, well, I don't know, because they think we want to measure it according to everyone else's pain out of 10.
Yeah, or if I say 8, I'm going to be sent to the neuro, or that, it doesn't work like that.
It's a simple answer of, what does this pain mean to you? So that's what we ask. So we have a systematic way that we go through a history taking. We then will perform an examination. Then we sit with the patient and try and understand, what do you think about your pain? Because that's really important. And then we take it from there. And then you'll try some general things, and maybe you need to tweak your treatments, because every person's different. So it's a systematic approach, looking at a patient as a whole.
And I'm hearing you say that, that was the biggest turning point for me, was a reframing of the pain more than the injury. It's crazy, but that was something that my brain needed to be kind of rewired around. I wish we could sit and talk for hours. We're going to continue to keep this conversation going for as long as we absolutely can. 063-408-8863. If you've got any insights yourself, if you've been through something along this line, please let us know. If you've got any questions, post them as well.